Hello everybody and welcome to my podcast Unwind and Knit with me. My name's Lisa and I'm coming to you from Christchurch, which is the South Island of New Zealand. Today is Wednesday the 26th of July and this is episode 24. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you. And if you're a new viewer to my channel, welcome and I hope you enjoy the content. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the like button, and you can hit the bell, which is a notification button, so you will be notified each time I upload a podcast. I try to come to you fortnightly. I'm a few days late with this one because I was just busy and I didn't want to feel pressure to do a podcast. I'd rather wait a couple of days and be in the right space to do it and bring you the content and everything that I like to bring you. So welcome. Just a few notes. I leave all of my show notes below. I leave links of anything I talk about. I leave the Ravelry links to any patterns that I talk about and any yarn that I talk about. So please refer to all the show notes if you need to. I did want to say it's a wee bit of a celebration, but my next podcast will be early August and that will be 1 year. So I've been podcasting for 1 year. It'll be episode 25. I don't know the exact date in August, but I know that my first ever episode was in August last year. So for all of you that have been following me for the last year, thank you very much. You can follow me on Instagram as Unwind and Knit with me. And just a short note about my Facebook. So when I set up my website, my online store, the IT graphics people that I was dealing with set me up with a Facebook page, which is actually a business Facebook page. And after running for a couple of months, I know that that's not the right Facebook page for me. It's really not what I wanted, and it's not fulfilling my needs at all. So I am meeting with my graphics people tomorrow, and we're going to set up what I always wanted was a Facebook group where everybody could interact with each other, where you can post what you're doing and you can talk about it, and I can chime in and engage with my viewers, but also other people can chime in and you can ask for advice. So I will be setting up a Facebook group. What I hope to do, the existing one that I've got, is just convert that, but it will be Unwind and Knit with me, and it will be a lot more engaging, because what I really want to do is share what I'm working with, but also I want to see what you're working, and I want us to all be able to interact with each other. So that'll be a couple of days away. So if you're watching this today, which is Wednesday the 26th, actually, no, it's not. It's Tuesday. I've written the wrong day. Anyway, I think it's Tuesday the 26th. If you're watching this today on the Tuesday, that Facebook page won't be live. It'll be a couple of days away, but I will post on Instagram when that goes live. And I really hope that you come on over to it and just engage and post what you're doing and post what yarn you've got and what you plan on doing with it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think Ravelry, I have got, as you're aware of, community thread in Ravelry, but I don't think that's for everybody. A lot of my viewers have said that they don't use Ravelry for that community group. In saying that, the Ravelry group is Unwind and Knit with me, and we have a 2022 challenge thread going, and every 3 months I draw a winner from that thread. The last winner was, I think, an episode ago, and that parcel of goodies went off to England, and I got an email last night saying that she'd received it and she was really happy. The first one I did, which was in March, actually went to Japan. So it's great, isn't it, that I've got people watching from all over the world. The next, I did do a giveaway from my last episode, which was just leave a comment on my episode 23 podcast, and I have done a random selection and I have got a prize winner, and I'll talk about that later towards the end of the episode, because I also have another prize, so I'll do that all together. But I will give you a wee hint. The prize this time is for someone in New Zealand, so I'm happy about that. Like I said, the last two have gone abroad, so it's really nice to have a prize that is for someone here in New Zealand. I think that was all with my housekeeping, but like I said, I will let you know via social media when I get that new Facebook page up and running. Show notes. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's been ordering on my online store and for supporting my online store. Just a big thank you. I did just want to add that if you're ordering from me outside of New Zealand, there is a place there for your phone number, and unfortunately New Zealand Post require a phone number for any parcels that are being sent outside of New Zealand. So if you're ordering from Australia, I know I have had a lot of orders from Australia, can you please add your phone number in this space? I don't know that it comes up as an actual requirement, but it is something that's required for New Zealand Post. The other thing too is I have just negotiated with DHL to get a better rate for shipping internationally. My main goal was Australia, to get a better rate for Australia, and I've managed to do that. And also, if the order leaves me before lunchtime, it's actually an overnight service to Australia. So that will also appear on my online store. Within a week or so, you'll have an option of choosing whether you're going to use New Zealand Post or whether you're going to choose DHL for your freight. I'm still working through the finer details, but I just wanted to share that with you, that I am working on trying to get freight costs down. Because it's just crazy. We all know how crazy it is paying for freight, and it's not going to get any better. What they've done is give me a fixed rate, but there's actually a variant that will alter monthly depending on fuel charges. So although the base rate looks really good, by the time they add on their monthly fee for freight and for fuel costs and other things, it's still not that cheap. But I think we're looking at around the $35 mark for parcels to Australia overnight. So that's that. I think that's all the admin housekeeping things that I needed to talk about. I will, you probably noticed behind me things are looking a bit different. So what I've done is I've completely emptied out my little office here, and all my personal stash is in another bedroom upstairs. And I have turned this area into an actual shop that I open to the public. So I've got all my Jamieson and Smith on display, all my John Arbon textile yarn on display, a whole lot of accessories and bags. Everything that's on my website is available here, and I'll talk more about that at the end of the podcast, where I do an actual shop update. But that's why things are looking a bit different. This room that I've got in the downstairs of my house actually has doors leading outside, so you can actually access this area without having to come through the house. So I thought that it was just perfect as a wee little shop without going to that big outlay that's involved in opening an actual retail shop. So like I said, I will talk more about that towards the end of this episode. I want to stick to the knitting, so let's get into that. I have 2 new cast-ons. I've got one almost FO. I've made progress on my Marie Wallen, and I have about 4 things that I want to cast on that I'll show you the patterns and the yarn for, and of course all my whips. So a lot to talk about, so stick with me. Make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, grab your knitting, and let's get into the knitting side of things. I have had a couple of people ask me about my knitting journal. I do, in previous episodes, I've talked about my knitting journal. So I just thought I'd show you really quickly. What I use is plain black cover, little black book, but it's actually a sketch pad. So it has really thick pages, really thick paper. And the reason I like this is because I can use felt pens, but also the pages are strong enough to hold. I staple on, you can see here, I staple on the ball band, I staple on a swatch of the yarn. Sometimes I actually add my whole swatch that I've knitted, and then of course all my notes, the date I started the project, the yarn I'm using, the size I'm knitting, the needles I'm using, and anything I have to keep track of. But that's what I use for my knitting journal, is literally just a plain paper sketch pad, because I do like that thicker paper. So that was that. And the other thing I've been asked about is lifelines. So I actually, I'll talk about my lifeline when I talk about one of my whips, because I'm using a lifeline in there. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about before I get into my actual knitting is de-pilling. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I posted a couple of photos. So about a week ago, I grabbed out 3 of my garments that were looking really quite shabby, and I thought they needed de-pilling and they needed washing. And the truth of it all was, all they needed was de-pilling. Once I de-pilled them and I just hung them on a coat hanger out in the sun for a little while, they come up beautiful, so fresh, so new. They looked clean, where before they actually, like I said, looked a bit shabby. So I thought I'd just share with you quickly how I did that. And I'm sure a lot of you already know this stuff, but I thought wee little reminder. So I have got a sweater stone, and this is very much like a block of pumice stone that you just brush across your garment, and it lifts off all the pilling. And I leave this on a shelf in my wardrobe, and I only really use this for quick de-pilling. So I'm putting on a garment and I just do a real quick once over if I feel it needs it. So that's my sweater stone. But what I actually use, I open up my my ironing board and I lay my sweater on it, and I use this fabric shaver. It's it there. Now I had a look, so if you're from, you know, New Zealand, Australia, one of our big department stores is Harvey Norman, but I had a look on their site and they're only around $24. So that's it there. Plugs in, it's power, and it's literally like an electric shaver. You just gently work it over your fabric. All of the lint gets caught in this little container that you can empty, and the result was really amazing. Now I did 3 sweaters, like I said, only 3, and I'll show you this. That's what I got from it. That's a lot of what would you call it, wool fibre, but that's what I got off the 3 garments, quite a lot. So I was really happy with that. I need to do that more often. It is a bit time consuming, so I just thought on the day that I feel like it, I'll just grab 2 or 3 and do 2 or 3 at a time. But in saying that, I've really, not all my garments need de-pilling. It's only a half a dozen that that have that kind of wool that tends to pill a lot. So that's something I did a week ago. And it was really good because I didn't have to wash them. And the crazy thing is, it is so cold and wet here, and I've been watching the news, and in the Northern Hemisphere, you guys are just cooking in the heat. This weather is so bizarre. We've actually had the wettest July, I think, in history recorded in the region that I come from, but I think the whole country's been very wet. And today's no exception. It's grey, it's gloomy outside, it's wet, and I think we've got a couple of days of really heavy rain. I don't think property, It's not too devastating in most regions, but we have had a lot of rain. So where was I going with that? It's not great weather to be washing wool at the moment. So that was my little de-pilling project that I did. Now, what I'm wearing, I actually don't know if I've worn this on an episode. It is a short-sleeved summer top that I've put over the top, as you can see, obviously, over a black merino undergarment. And I really like that I can wear my summer jerseys all year round, over the top. But this particular item that I'm wearing, I do really like. It's the Kuutar tee by Sari Nordlund. That's the pattern there. And I know she's done, I think she's actually done a Kuutar cardigan, and she's done a Kuutar sweater. I think that's right. The lace work, you see that? Yeah, have a look at that lace work. It's just really, really nice. It was a beautiful pattern to knit. I really enjoyed it. And I did this is actually done in a DK, and it was, I'm pretty sure it was 50% merino, 50% cotton. It was definitely, it had quite a high content of cotton, but it's given me a really beautiful stitch definition, and it's a nice top to wear in the summer, but yeah, it is also a nice one in the winter. I'm just wearing it with a pair of black pants. It's not too cropped. It's not long, but it's not real croppy either. But I'll leave the link as always below. But that's the Kuutar tee. So it is one that I would recommend. And like I said, really versatile. You know, I feel quite good. I probably feel more comfortable wearing it over a thermal in the winter than I do wearing it in the summer. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Now, my whips. There are many. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I cannot help myself. I have never been, oh, I'm a bit jammed in here. I've never been a monogamous knitter. I've always got lots of projects on the go. Now, I haven't made a lot of progress, but I will share it with you. So this is my Marit cardigan by Kristin Drysdale. I'm doing it in very similar colorways as what Kristin has done there. I'm knitting this in the Jamieson & Smith 4-ply. They call it their 2-ply jumper weight. That's this yarn here behind me. And it just is so perfect for colour work. It just screams colour work. It's nice and grippy. So this is... I did show you this in my last episode, but I will give you a quick update. It is a steeked cardigan, and this is, I'm finding this really exciting. I've only ever done one steek before, and that was my budding cardigan. But you can see that steek bridge there. So I've got a 7-stitch steek bridge, and that's where I'm going to cut. I have done a whole pattern repeat. And I'm just absolutely loving it. And, you know, I've got to show the back because the backs are stunning as the fronts. This wool is so, so grippy. I'm doing this a size bigger than I probably need to, but I almost want it as a wee little jacket rather than a fitted cardigan. So I am using, for the main colour, I'm using a cone. I love knitting off cones, and then the two contrast colours is this turquoise and brown. And I'll tell you what's beautiful about this brown. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it there, but there are actually little flecks of blue in it. So it just ties in really nicely. So not a lot to report. I haven't done a lot on it. I really want to do some more on it. I have decided that I need cardigans. I've only really got 2. I have got a third one, but it's more of a little summer. It's not a warm cardigan, it's a little summer one. So I have my my Andrea Mowry Summer Beach cardigan that I have shown you before. and I have my budding cardigan. But yeah, like I said, I need more cardigans in my life, so I really want to make some progress on this particular project, but I haven't done a lot. At all. The next one I want to share with you, because I have made a bit of progress. Now, this was my 2022 challenge, and it's a Marie Wallen project. Now, I bought this late last year from the Woolly Thistle as a kit, and it ended up, I bought it and then I gave it to my husband to give it to me for Christmas, so it ended up under the Christmas tree. But I have finished the body up to where the underarm is, and I have to put it on hold, and now I've started the sleeves. So I have it on my stitch on hold cables, and light is perfect. You can see that change in colour there. Move that right through grey and green, and then the grey and the brown. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, I'm so excited about this garment. It looks very complex, but I've got to say, if you're a confident colour work knitter, it's not hard, because you're only ever carrying 2 strands at one time. But where I'm up to, I haven't read too far forward, but what I believe is going to happen is that I'm now starting the sleeves, and then I think when I've done the sleeves, I pick it all up and then start knitting it across, almost like a yoke, where I knit the sleeves and the body together. But super, super happy. So that's the progress I've made there. With the sleeves, I'm being a little bit adventurous. I've actually cast on 2 at a time, and I'm doing them as you would socks. I'm doing them using magic loop, and I've only just started the cuff. Quite a way to go. Now the sleeves are knitted in the round, and I'm not sure how I'm going to go doing 2 at a time, but I thought I'm going to give it a go. Worst case scenario, I put 1 on hold and I just do 1 at a time. But that is my plan, is to attempt to do 2 sleeves at a time. I have done 2 sleeves at a time before, but they weren't colour work or cable. They were, it might have even been for a child garment, and it would have been a long time ago, because it's been a long time since I've knitted children's knitwear. But I'll see how I go with that. But I'm super happy with the progress I've made. The Marit cardigan and this Marie Wallen are my 2 complex whips. So I've got to be in the right headspace to knit them. I have to pretty well be home alone. I don't want to be knitting them if I've got someone that wants a conversation with me, or, you know, if my husband's sort of in a chatty mood, I don't knit any of those. Yeah, so that's why I don't get to make lots of progress, because the time's got to be right for me to knit those. I'm sure you will agree and know what I mean. Yeah, sometimes you just got to pick your moment. Now, my next new cast on, I did hold off. I exercised some restraint for quite a few weeks, but I have cast on my second Winter Beach Cardi by Andrea Mowry. It's like I said, I need another cardigan in my life, but what really motivated me with this was the actual yarn. So I got Appledore DK, which is from John Arbon Textiles. That's this range over here, and it just screamed Winter Beach Cardi. I just thought this is the perfect yarn for it. My original one is quite a big oversized drapey woolly type of cardigan. This one will have a bit more stitch definition. The yarn is really quite different, and I'm not doing this one as oversized. I've actually gone down a size from my original one, because I don't want it too big and oversized. But let me show you. I've done the band, The band's a combination of 2x2 and 1x1 rib, as you can see. And then you've got 4 cable panels and 4 panels that are just moss stitch. Now this pattern isn't at all hard if you've done, I would say, an advanced beginner. You know, like it's not a hard pattern. All it is moss stitch and cables. But you do have to concentrate because every row is different and there is a lot of cable. And this is the project that last time I said lifeline, 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 lifeline. Lifelines for sure, because it's so easy just to do a mistake. You know, you do your moss stitch wrong or you do the cable the wrong way and you don't notice it quite a way down. Last time I had to pull it back quite a few times, and we're talking like 300 stitches of pattern work. So following definitely my own advice, there is my lifeline in there. You're not going to be able to see that. But anyway, there's my lifeline. I think it's about, I can't remember, but I'm actually going to put a lifeline in about every 15 to 20 rows right through, just from experience. Somebody did ask me in the comments, what's a lifeline? What do you mean by a lifeline? So I've just got, this is actually like an embroidery thread that I don't even know how I come by it, but you want a finer yarn and maybe something with a bit of slip to it. Yeah, finer than what you're already doing. I have heard of people using dental floss, but any sort of fine embroidery thread will work. And I just add that to a darning needle and I just take it all the way through and leave it there hanging. Have a decent tail on each end. Do remember, because the first time I ever put in a lifeline, I threaded it through my stitch markers. Well, that doesn't work. And I had to actually get the scissors and chop my stitch markers out. Yeah, don't put your lifeline through your stitch markers because you have to move them as you move up. And if you're an experienced knitter, you're probably sitting there going, well, that's stating the obvious. It wasn't obvious to me the first time I did it. But I've got a friend that's also knitting this with me. And I said to her, lifeline, lifeline. And she rang me and she was only about 10 rows into it. And she said, I had to rip it back. Thank God for my lifeline. So, yeah, like I said, it's not a hard pattern, but it is easy just to make a wee mistake. But really happy with that. This actual colour is called Quench, and I don't have any more in stock. I do have it on order, but there's about another 10 colours in this yarn if you are interested in doing a Winter Beach Cardi in the Appledore DK. This yarn, I don't find it scratchy. I probably certainly recommend it for an overgarment or a cardigan. If you're really sensitive, you may find it a little bit scratchy, but it's just beautiful. And the colours that come out, I don't know if you look, I keep showing you, but in that, it's a pale pink, but there's little bits of blue that pop out. There's bits of dark pink. There's bits of like pale green. The colours, how they get these colours is just outstanding. I will show you some more at the end of the episode, but this is beautiful yarn. As you can see, the stitch definition for cable work is works well. But anyway, I can go on and on about this. I just love it. So that's it there, Winter Beach Cardi. And my goal is to actually do one that fits about the sort of sizing that she's got. The one I've got now is quite a bit longer, and yeah, it's a bit bigger. So I did go down a size. that's done. It's DK yarn, like I said. The ribbon is done on a 4mm needle, and the body's done on a 5mm, so it does knit up quite quickly. But yep, one of my other whips. I think I'll get through that one fairly quickly. I do enjoy doing it, and it's a break away from the colour work of my other 2 projects. Now my next one. So in my last episode, I showed you this pattern. Now I was watching the Grocery Girls, Tracy and Jody. I think Jody's the dark-headed one, and she was wearing this, and it caught my eye, so I jumped onto Rav and I bought it, and it's called the Weekend Slipover V-neck. That's it there, by Petite Knits. And I don't have a vest, and I've never knitted a vest, but I loved the low cut V-neck. I just love the idea of being able to wear it over a t-shirt in the summer, or I just think it's a really good transitional piece, or over a long sleeve merino in the winter. But I just love the look of it, and I love the way that she's wearing it, and I just had to have one. So, and what was even better about this is, so she recommends a DK double-stranded with a mohair, but I actually used a fingering weight Malabrigo yarn held together with a mohair that I had in my stash. So I didn't have to buy the yarn. So it was a win-win, because that's my goal this year, is to use a bit more of my stash. And that goal's actually getting harder and harder with having all of this beautiful yarn here, but I will still continue to knit from my stash. Now, I've nearly finished this. I cast this on 2 weeks ago, probably a couple of days after my last episode, and I've tried it on. So I divided for the sleeves and got down to the body, put it on hold, and I did the sleeve and the V-neck, and the detail is stunning. So you can see that there. So that V-neck, it's a CDD, which is a center double decrease, and all it is slip 2 knitwise together, knit 1, and then pass the slip stitch over, and you get this beautiful detail there, and I just think it looks outstanding. And it's the same for the underarm. So that's the underarm, and I just think that detail on that ribbon is what makes this vest, there we go, makes this vest so lovely. I did do a swatch, and because I'm using a lighter weight yarn, I was, I think, 3 stitches short, and I didn't do any complicated maths. I just decided to go up two sizes. So basically I winged it, but I've tried it on and it fits perfect. I'm really happy with it. And in all honesty, I'm probably a day off finishing this. It, like I said, it knits up really quickly. I've made quite a lot of progress there. I probably have about that much, maybe 3 or 4 inches, and then the ribbon. So really happy. That body, that's why I keep a knitting journal. The body is actually done on a 5.5 mil. The ribbon is done on a 4.5, and the actual ribbon on the bottom hem that I haven't got to yet is actually done in a 4. So you need a 4, was it a 4? A 4, a 4.5, and a 5.5 needle for this. But it's such a well-written pattern. I've not had any problems reading the pattern. I highly recommend it. It's a quick knit. I think it's super fashionable, and Oh, sorry, I actually don't normally show you things in a plastic sleeve because of that, because of the glare. But it's super wearable. It knits up quickly. I had only 2 skeins of the Malabrigo fingering weight. It was 400 meters. So I've only used 2 skeins of wool and 2 skeins of the mohair, and I will have yarn left over. So a really good stash buster if you've got some mohair laying around in your stash. I really recommend that. And on my next podcast, for sure, this will be finished, and I may even wear it because I really, really love it. But I'll show you again that detail. You see it in the sleeve. It's just a really nice ribbon. Yeah. So this was sort of, as you can see, it's like the mohair. I will show you. So the mohair was actually called steel or silver, but it is literally a very pale grey with maybe a wee little hint of mauve. And the Malabrigo is the same. It's not black. It's almost like dark grey with a hint of mauve. I don't know. They just were both in my stash. I don't know why I bought them. I don't know what project I had in mind when I bought them. But the perfect stash buster. Don't you just love that when it comes together, when you have a pattern and you just go to your stash and bang, it just pops out at you and it's perfect. That's how I feel about this. So that is a new cast on, but it's almost an FO. So that is really, really exciting. So I've talked to you about my Marie Wallen, my Winter Beach Cardi, my Weekend V-neck Slipover by Petite Knits, my Marit cardigan, and what I'm wearing. So, I will show you quickly. I think it counts as an FO, but I will show you. So this sock's in the background. In my last episode, I'd finished one and I was very close to finishing the second. I finished the second and they're laying around because I wanted to show them to you, but these I'm actually going to give to my daughter because she hasn't got any of my hand knitted socks, but really happy with those. These are the sock blockers. They come in small, medium and large, and this is the medium. So I do block my socks when I finish because they just, I don't know, they just sit well and fold up nicely to put in the drawer. I'm a little bit fussy. That yarn was Narrative Yarn, self-striping yarn. It's a dyer from here, locally, Christchurch. I have put her in my show notes in previous podcasts. I've left links to her Facebook and Instagram. So that's that FO. They're really pretty. Really happy with that. And so the next thing I'm going to talk about are some new patterns I've got and some new things that I want to cast on with all that spare time that I have. Yep, I've got some new patterns and ideas. So I'm just going to get a quick drink and then we'll jump right over to what's new with my patterns and my cast-ons. Back again. So when I went out and got a drink, I have actually got 2 of my garments that I've talked about. I have showed them before, but I thought I'd quickly show them again just in case you are new and you haven't seen the previous episodes. But that's my Winter Beach Cardi that I have finished, the wee pockets. And this was the other garment that I actually de-pilled last week. It had, not badly, but it did have a bit of pilling on the sleeves. And they've come up beautifully, nice and fresh again. But I love this. I don't get to wear it too much because my daughter wears it more than I do, which I really don't mind. She does look after it. But that's a finished Winter Beach Cardi. And this was hanging on the back of the chair in my dining room because I wore it yesterday. But this was my first steep cardigan. And this is the Budding Cardigan by Anna Johanna. And that was my first ever steeped. It actually needs a wee bit of de-pilling. I haven't de-pilled this one. but that was my first steeking project. And when I did this, it would have been about 6 months ago, I did actually film me cutting it up, and I posted it in one of my previous episodes. But this is done in a sports weight yarn. And yeah, I love it. I actually wear this over a white t-shirt. Yesterday I wore it over a long sleeve white t-shirt because it was so cold. But yeah, I do really like this pattern. And if you've not steeked before and you haven't done a lot of colour work, I would recommend it. I didn't find it too difficult. I may have made 1 or 2 mistakes and may have had to pull back a couple of rows. But overall, it was very doable. I really did enjoy it. The reason why I thought I'd show this one as well is because I'm getting the whole range of John Arbon Textiles Yarnadelic, which is sports weight. So it'll be ideal to do this sort of project. But they were just sitting out there, so I thought I'd show you those, share those with you. And the other thing quickly was my Marie Wallen, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. My Marie Wallen jersey that I'm doing actually has 12 colours. And that's what I did before I started it. I actually did a wee, I suppose you call it a guide. And I just keep that in the project bag. So all of the symbols are in that chart and with the corresponding yarns. So I do recommend that if you're doing any colour work that's got more than even 4 colours. It's a really good guide. So I'll show you that. It actually just fell out of the bag when I showed it to you before. Okay, so the things I want to cast on. There's a wee story here. Now I have this yarn that I have knitted twice and I've frogged it twice. And I'm starting to wonder if this yarn just wasn't meant to be in my possession because I just haven't got it right. But the yarn was also too expensive and too precious for me to just forget about. So this yarn that I'm talking about started off as a Andrea Mowry Pink Fizz, and I did the whole body back and front. I didn't love it. It sat in the corner for 6 months and I went, if in doubt, rip it out. So I unraveled it all. It is a 4-ply and a merino held double, but it actually unraveled perfect. I wasted only a tiny bit. So I frogged that first project. And then maybe about 6 weeks ago, in my previous podcast, I cast on a jersey called Tulip. And it was the one that had the scalloped edges along the bottom, which is what I loved about it. And I actually really struggled with the pattern. It said things like knit to next marker, make one left, knit two, make one right. It didn't tell me when to slip the marker. It didn't tell me to do my make ones on what side of the marker. And I thought, I'm used to, I think, using such well-written patterns that we're literally just hand-fed every step of the way, and they work out well. But anyway, I cast on the Tulip. It was a top down. I got to the point where I had to divide for the sleeves, and my raglan sleeves, the seams just didn't look right. I thought, no, I've really buggered this up. So I ripped it out again. If in doubt, rip it out. So twice this yarn has been frogged. But I love the yarn, I love the colour, and I want to use it. So when I was knitting this, my vest from Petite Knits, I knew I just thought, what a well-written pattern. These patterns are so easy to follow. They're just beautifully written patterns. And I knew that I had in my folders, I knew I had the pattern for the Petite Knits No Frill Sweater. So I thought this yarn needs to be used and I'd lost my confidence after frogging 2 previous projects. I thought, if this pattern is as well written as the weekend slipover, v-neck slipover, then I'm on to a winner. So that's what I'm going to do. I've dug out this pattern, I've still got my yarn, and this is going to become a no frill sweater. The other pattern I thought about was, I watched the Woolly Thistle, and they have a couple of, I think they're called Vanilla Sweater and Vanilla Fizz, and she's written a pattern that's double-stranded with mohair. So I did think about that one, but I knew I had this. I didn't have to go and buy a new pattern. I'd already purchased this pattern. So that's what that's going to be. So I'm really happy that I finally made a decision to use this yarn for something that I think will work out. So I wanted to share that story with you because none of us are perfect. Like, sometimes you've just got to frog things, and like I said, if in doubt, rip it out. There's no use putting so much of your valuable knitting hours into a project that you're not going to love, or that you don't understand the pattern. It's just a waste of good, valuable knitting hours, as far as I'm concerned. So I ripped it out, and that is going to be a new cast on. And if it's anything like that v-neck sweater, the vest, it'll knit up pretty quickly. So I'm pretty happy with that decision I've made. Now, the next pattern I wanted to show you. So this pattern has been featuring on Ravelry for a week or 2 now as a new pattern. And I do like her patterns. So it's Joji Locatelli, and it's called Lace and Fade Boxy. So that's it there. It's very boxy, it's very light and airy, and I thought, what a beautiful little summer sweater. And I just like it. So I looked at it, and I come up with some yarn that I could use for it. So it's a bit of a fade. So you start, there's sort of the darker and medium and lighter right through to a very light one. And then each panel in between, so the lacework panels between each colour block are actually done in mohair. So it's really light and airy. And that's mohair on its own, not mohair double-stranded. So I've come up with these 5 colours, and I just think this will be a beautiful, I don't know, for me it says summer, just that bright pop of green, and it's fresh and it's light. So I would start with this dark one at the bottom, then go into the olive green, then the bright green, then the gold, and then the very light grey. And then in between each of those colours will be a mohair lace panel. So I need to go and find a lace, a very soft lace that will tie these 5 colours together. This yarn is the Exmoor Sock yarn. There's 200 metres on each one, and I'm pretty sure that's enough for each colour block. So I will do a bit of searching around for a mohair that will tie those together, and I will show you what I come up with in my next podcast. I won't cast this on between now and my next podcast. I'm going to put it aside, and I'll cast it on more of a summer knit when we come into our summer. Remembering that you guys in the Northern Hemisphere are opposite to us. We're right in the middle of our winter. So that is, I just did want to share that with you because it is featuring quite heavily on Ravelry at the moment. And it's, really nice and airy, and I just think it'll be a beautiful wee boxy jersey. So that's my next cast on, or on my list of things to cast on. I did, it was actually one of my viewers that left me a message. So I showed you my socks before. So I've always done my socks toe up. But what it means is when you do the heel, I've just struggled to be able to block the heel in a contrasting colour. So one of my viewers said to me, recommended this pattern, which is cuffed down, and it means you can block the whole heel. Now this pattern is Extranilla socks, basically a vanilla sock. The Unapologetic Knitter Extra Vanilla Sock. So it's cuffed down. I'll only show you the picture. But like, I'm not a real experienced, like I can knit socks, no worries. But when it comes to adding contrast colours, and I haven't had that much experience. I've always just followed the same basic pattern with a gusset heel, gusset and heel flat. So I am going to, I did buy that pattern, and I am going to knit a pair of socks. I've shown you this yarn, and that's my contrast colour. Isn't it beautiful? I can't remember what it's called, the actual colour, but it just makes me happy. It's a nice, very nice colour. So I wanted a pattern that would basically where I could learn and would guide me through doing that heel in a contrasting colour, because that is new to me. So there's my yarn and there's my pattern, and that is going to be my next pair of socks. Excuse me. Now, oh, I have got, oh dear, I'm just going to pause for a minute so I can reach over and get my next lot of show and tell. It's actually crazy how many things I want to cast on. I've got so much to share with you, so I hope you're still sticking with me. I have got more to share. So a couple of podcasts ago, I knitted this Pure Joy. I've got it there. That's it there. It's lovely. It's a shawl. It's a shawl by Locatelli. I'll show it to you there. So it's Pure Joy by Locatelli. I really enjoyed that knit. It was really nice TV knitting, and it's just a whole lot of short rows, and the eyelets are just knit two together, yarn over, fairly basic. But I've worn that a lot in the last couple of weeks. It's a really wearable piece. It's not too big, but it wraps around nicely and it looks good. So I am actually, I've been starting to think about a bit of gift knitting for Christmas. I know we shouldn't be using that word, it's so far away, but I also know it's going to come around really quickly. And there's not a lot of people that I knit for that I consider sort of knit worthy, but I have got a friend that I knitted a shawl for a couple of years ago, and I know she loves it, and I know she wears it every winter. So I really love these two colours, and I think it would be, I am actually going to cast it on another Pure Joy in these two colours. So this is the Devonia 4-ply, and it's 50% Blueface, Exmoor Blueface, 30% Blueface Leicester, and 20% Wensleydale. But it is soft. It is soft. And the colours, these are some limited edition colours that I have, that I got in a couple of weeks ago. They are on my online store, but they're sort of never to be repeated colours. But I really like, this one's called Willow Herb. And it's just this beautiful dusty pink, and when you hold it in the right light, there is actually sort of a couple of bluey sort of grey flecks in it. And the other colour, this one's been really popular, it's called Beetle's Wing. There is still some available, but I thought I'd better pull one out. Now, once again, in the right light, it's actually really quite iridescent, a bit like Beetle's Wings. and I'm not sure if you can see, but there's sort of greens and pinks in there that in the right light just pop. It's just a really, really beautiful colour, and I don't know how they've managed to do it, but I am going to use those two colours for another Pure Joy, and that's going to be a gift. So that's that suggestion. The other one, now I think I've showed you this pattern some time ago because it's been on my list of things that I want to knit, and it's a Caitlin Hunter. I've done Caitlin Hunter's Miss Arena, which is really quite similar. It's a croppy short sleeve, lace and colour work, but this one's called Kevat. That's it there. I will do it a little bit longer. I won't do it as cropped as what she's got there in the picture. But I watched a podcast this week, The Finnish Knitter, and she was wearing it. And I just kept looking at it thinking, I know that pattern. Why do I know that pattern? And then she said what it was. I went, of course. So I went to my folder and I got it out because I had forgotten about it. But as soon as I saw it, I went, yeah, I want to knit that for next summer. And then I looked up on my shelf and I found the perfect colours, which are these. So this is Yarnadelic, which is, they call it a heavy fingering or a sports weight. It's actually a sports weight yarn, and the pattern calls for a sports weight yarn. And once again, these are some of the limited edition range, but this one's called Soul Drums, and I'm not sure how to describe it. It's a grey purpley kind of colour, but once again there are bits of sort of blues and other shades in it, but it's quite a sort of earthy tone. And this one was called Confide in Me, and it's sort of a paley sort of grey, but there are sort of bits of yellow, and I can't even describe them. They're just so amazing. But they're the two colours that I'm going to do this Kevat in. The dark one being the main colour, and then the light one being that bit of lace work, that bit of colour work. And it's all over sort of lace, bit of cabling, a bit of lace work around the top of the yoke. But it's certainly my style. It's the sort of thing that I think I'll get a lot of wear out of. And even with this one in the winter, wearing it over, layering it as a winter piece as well as a summer piece. But I really want to cast that on. And I think because it's short sleeved and crop, it's not a lot of knitting. I don't think it'll take too long. But that's Kevat by Caitlin Hunter. So it's just too many things. This is the last thing. This is the last pattern I've got to share with you. So when I did my Pure Joy shawl, there are a couple of other shawl patterns that caught my eye as well. And one of them is Dotted Rays by Stephen West. And I think in the terms of Stephen West, this is really quite a basic, subtle shawl, because some of his shawls are really colourful, and they've got brioche, and they've got lace, and they've got I-cords, and there's so much going on. Where for me, I thought this is nice. This is a bit like the Pure Joy, nice TV knitting, and you're really not going to make out too much there. But it's called Dotted Rays, and it does have an I-cord edge, which I really like. It actually, this photo shows it a bit better. It's a lot of short rows to give you that crescent shape. Sorry, I'm normally more organised. Okay, so that you can see there are a whole lot of short rows and a whole lot of holes. I don't even know how to describe them, but very much like that. It's just a nice crescent shaped shawl. And what I'm going to do is every row, I've got two colours, and once again, this is from my stash. I bought this at Woolfest last year. But on the rows where you do your yarn overs to do your dots, I'm going to do it in a contrasting colour. Now this yarn is super colourful. I wish I'd showed it to you while it was still in the skein. But it's a self-striping, it's not a sock yarn, it's 100% merino. But there's so much colour going on there and really vibrant, bright colours. But I'm going to tee that up with a black. So for every stripe of dots, it's going to be broken up by the black. And I just think this is amazing. And like I said, it's from my stash, and that is one of my goals this year, is to use up some wool from my stash. So that's 2 shawls that I want to cast on that will probably be gifts. I've got a feeling that I will be quite tempted to keep this dotted raise for myself because I really like these colours. I love the brightness. It's real vibrant, like look at that. Seriously bright. Now I'd never wear that in a garment, but it's perfect for a shawl. So yeah, I do have a feeling that I will knit this one for myself. Says the lady that says I'm not a big shawl wearer. I don't wear many shawls. But doing that dotted raise has sort of really sparked my interest to do shawls again. So, and they are perfect gifts, especially for someone that is what I call knit worthy. Like I said, this friend of mine, I know she wears it every winter, and I know it's quite a precious piece to her. So I'd love to knit her another one because I just know how much she values it. So that's that. Now I'm going to have a drink, and then I am going to give you a wee shop update on what's going on with my shop. Oh, I need to announce the winner. All right, let me get a drink and I'm going to come back and announce the winner of last week's giveaway, which was leaving me a comment on my podcast, which would have been episode 23. And in saying that, I want to thank everybody. It was so nice reading everyone's comments, and it was so nice to hear where you are from, because I don't, you don't know what you don't know. But thank you to all my Australian viewers. There's a lot more viewers that I have in Australia than I thought, but really from all over the world. And it just meant a lot reading all those comments. I think there was over 100 odd comments. So to draw a winner of someone in New Zealand was really quite cool. But I'll be back in one tick. I talk so much that I get a dry mouth. I really need to stop it and have a break and have a drink. So the prize was these 2 beautiful skeins from Kiwiana, and they're in her high twist merino. I have knitted this into a garment, this high twist merino, not this colour, and it's a beautiful yarn. It's very little pilling. It's 100% merino high twist. This colour is called Spring Flamingo. I'm not sure if she's still doing this colourway. But there's 2 skeins there, which is 800 metres. There's a set of each of my stitch on hold cables, which are they're like your barber's cords, I think, were the original ones brought out. But these are the ones that I've done up for my own brand. So there's a set of large, a set of small, and a wee little notebook for wee little knitting journal notebook. And the winner for that, which was randomly drawn, is Shiree Smith from Hawke's Bay in New Zealand. So Shiree, if you're watching, I'm sure you will, or if you know Shiree, contact her and send me an email, and you can do that through my website, unwindandknit.com, and go to there'll be a part down the bottom where you can send me an email, and send me an email, say hello, and give me your address details, and I will send that out to you. So really happy that it was a New Zealand winner. So, and thank you, Shiree, for your comments, and thank you for watching. So that was really good. So back to that, my shop is unwindandknit.com, and feel free to jump over there and have a look. And that is one way you can contact me via email. Now, the next draw that I'm going to do, the next giveaway, is in relation to my new Facebook page that will be up and running in the next couple of days. So keep an eye out for it. It's going to be Unwind and Knit with me, and it's going to be a group where you can get on. And so all you need to do is jump on there and share a post of what you're knitting. Let's just talk about what you're knitting, what yarn you're using. Doesn't have to be your knitting, it could be some yarn. Just jump on over to that group and post something. And the prize that I've got is 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 balls of 4-ply aspen, and this is by Wild Earth Yarns. So this is really local to me and my region here in Canterbury. The wool is grown here in Canterbury. It's spun in South Canterbury, and it's dyed there, and then it's all spun here in Christchurch. So there's 7 balls, and the colours are really beautiful, moody colours. So there's a really dark green, a burgundy, a rust, a lighter olive green. There's actually 3 of the burgundy. Also, again, 1 set of the small and the large of the cables, and another knitting journal. So I will draw a prize from that new Facebook group, and I'll announce that on my next episode, which will be episode number 25, which will also be my 1-year anniversary of YouTubing, of my Unwinding It With Me channel on YouTube. So yeah, that's really exciting. So Shiree Smith, contact me for that prize, and in a couple of days jump onto the new Facebook page and join our group and be in the draw for the next prize. Now, so what I wanted to show you was, just for a recap, John Arbon Textiles are in England, and in case you haven't heard of them, it's actually the mill that spins all the yarn for Marie Wallen, and they've been around for like 100 or more years, this particular mill, and what they do with colour is outstanding. So I just wanted to share with you. So once a year they bring out some limited edition colours never to be repeated on their 3 most popular bases. So these are all available on my online shop. So Yarnadelic, I've already shown you 2 of them because that's what I'm going to knit my Caitlin Hunter jersey in, but that's the 3rd one, and this is probably actually my favourite, but I've chosen those for my Kevat. But this one is called We Love You, and it's this beautiful green with bits of blue, and there, that captures it there. And I've got to say, these tones are actually my new favourite colour, and I want to knit a whole garment, maybe even a ranunculus. But they're the 3 limited edition colours, and that's a 5-ply or a sports weight yarn, and that is 330 metres, and they're those 3 colours. The Appledore DK I have the whole range of, but these are the limited edition colours, and these are super popular. So this one here is Sugar Bush, and what I love about this pink is it's got hints of magenta in it as well, that it's just not doing it justice, but there's other colours in there that really pop out. This one's called Sour Bay, and it's not quite daffodil, it's not quite mustard, but have a look at the oranges and the green that pops out of that. That is really beautiful. So this is a DK weight, and it's 250 metres. And this one is called Oaken Pin, and it's an earthy kind of, I don't know, grey green, but as you can see, there are pinks and blues and yellows that pop out in that. So this is the same range that I'm doing my winter beach cardi in. So if you want to do a winter beach cardi and you're loving these colours, they're perfect. The Yarnadelic, which I just showed you, which is the sports weight, I have just ordered the whole range. So there's actually 18 colours coming in this range. So it'll be really nice to have a beautiful soft 5-ply yummy yarn. And the other one's the Devonia, which is 4-ply, and this one is 388 meters. And this is, I showed you before, but that's, I didn't show you this one. This one's called Wild Damson, which is I don't know how to describe it. It's a beautiful purple with pinks. I showed you this one, which was Willow Herb, that one. And this one's been really popular, and that's Beetle Wings. And that's because of that iridescent colour that, yeah, it's beautiful. So I wanted to show you that. I've talked about my next giveaway. That was the other thing. So I'm going to be working on updating my website. I've got to learn how to use some of the features, and I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm going to a meeting with my IT people, and they're going to teach me how to update some features on my website, because I'm not very good at it. But what I did want to tell you, I've got, I think, 8 of these, and I'm going to do them as a free giveaway. So they're a Jamieson and Smith tote bag. They're a real strong canvas. Every week is wool week at J&S, is what it says there. And I'm going to do this as a gift with purchase. So any purchase of $100 or more, the first, I think I've got 8 or maybe 9. Let's say 8 to cover myself. The first 8 people that do an order of $100 or more, I'm going to include one of these tote bags for free. They're a really strong bag, and they're big. They'll fit a large project. So that was my gift with purchase that I wanted to talk about. And that was the other thing. So my shop here is, I've been opening to the public, and I've been opening on Friday and Saturday from 10 to 2, but I'm happy to open anytime by appointment. So if you live in Christchurch and you've got a specific time that you want to see me, or if you're from out of town and you're passing through Christchurch and you want to come and have a look and a feel and a squish of all this beautiful wool, just contact me via my website and make a time, and I'm happy to open. I have FPOS facilities, so that's what, yeah. So just contact me and you can come to the shop anytime. And there was one thing I forgot. I have been busy. I got my wheel out and I did some spinning. Yay! So I'll just quickly tell you about this. So I bought these slivers, I don't know what they're called, from the tannery. So from the Spinners and Weavers Guild here in Christchurch at a shopping centre called the Tannery. And this was 70% merino, 30% silk. And I'd never spun anything with silk, and super stoked. So they were 50 grams each. So one is, it's a beautiful, almost like a dusty pink. And actually when I unraveled it all, kind of looked a bit like watermelon colour. But anyway, it's this really interesting pink. And this one was deep, moody sort of colours. You can see there your purples and reds, greens. And I'm going to apply the two together. And I want to do quite a few. And I'm going to knit I want to spin a whole lot of different colours. And I want to knit one of Andrea Mowry's, I think it's called the Shifty Sweater. And she uses Spin Cycle, which is beautiful yarn, but for us to get here in New Zealand is really, really expensive. So I'm going to try to spin my own Spin Cycle, and I'm going to knit, if not the sweater, then maybe just the shawl. But yeah, I want to knit myself something out of my own hand spun. It's certainly not going to happen overnight. It'll be a work in progress, but as I do spin and ply them together, I will share them with you. My spinning's not great. I learnt to spin, and then my wheel went into hibernation for 10 years, and it only saw the light of day about a year ago. So that's what I've done. So over the next couple of days, I'm really keen to sit down and ply these two together and see how they turn out. And I will make my way back over to the Spinners and Weavers Guild and buy some more. These ones here with the silk in it were $25. They're hand dyed, $25 for 50 grams. So I'm guessing I should get, I don't know, a couple of 100 meters, maybe. I don't know, but I'll ply it together anyway and see how I get on. And yeah, I'm going to knit myself something with that. Can't wait. I think I've covered everything. Do let your friends know if you're in Christchurch about my shop being open to the public. And like I said, if you're visiting and passing through and you want to come and have a bit of a peek at this beautiful, so with the Jamieson and Smith, I've got over 40 colours, and I've got an order in for another, I think I've added about another 20. I mean, they have over 100, so I don't know that I'll ever stock all of them. I do also have the cones, if you're keen on using a cone or knitting from a cone. But yeah, check it all out on the website. But yes, do let your friends know that I am open to the public. And the hours will vary. I'm not going to commit and say every Friday and Saturday 10 to 2, because we do go away sometimes, and sometimes life on the weekends won't fit in. But what I plan on doing is every week on my website telling you if I'm going to open and what the hours will be. But like I said, always happy to open by appointment. The other thing I'll show you really quickly is I've got these, and they're from South Africa. And there's probably about 10 different colorways, and it's called Adele's Mohair. And in each box you get 12 balls of wool, and there's 3 mohairs, 3, I'm not sure what you call that one, it's mohair as well, and then there's 3 that contain ribbon, or that one's got beads in it. And these are hand done by ladies in South Africa. Now each box has the 12 balls, but it also contains 2 patterns for this particular yarn. And there's one pattern for a scarf, and the other pattern is for a shawl. So there's a shawl pattern and a scarf pattern for those 12 balls. That one was like very sandy. This one here is quite, you can see the colours are just outstanding. So depending on what your colour preference is, there's blues, there's pinks, there's plums. There's some that look quite beachy with different blues and browns. This one here just screams autumn. Have a look at this one. It's real autumn colours. But if you love texture, different textures in a shawl, you'll love these packs. They are $100. They're not cheap, but like I said, these are the one with the beads and the ribbons are handmade or hand spun by ladies that are just sitting there, and that's what they do. It's just, I think they're just gorgeous. I'm yet to do one. I really want to do one, but they are on my website. I just got a glimpse over there. There's purples and pinks, if they're your colours, and there's also like blues and greys, and so many colour selections. But well, I've talked a lot, haven't I? I think I'm all done. Yay, finally, you say. yeah, so thank you once again. Thank you for supporting my online shop, and welcome if you want to come and visit me in my little shop here at home. Happy to open for you. Once again, I just want to thank all my viewers for supporting my channel on YouTube. I find it really hard to believe that I've been doing this for 1 year, and that after 1 year I can still sit here for over an hour and just talk about knitting and wool and patterns and everything. And it is also what's inspired me to open my own little online store. What my big driver behind that was, I wanted to bring in yarn that's not available here in New Zealand, and that's because I was buying this yarn and it was costing me just as much in freight as what it was costing me to buy a sweater quantity. So I thought, well, I can do this. So no, on a whim, I just talked to my husband and he said, well, if you believe in it, do it. And so here I am with my own little shop. And I'm sharing it all with you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Please subscribe to my channel. In a couple of days, go and have a look for the Facebook group, and I will talk more about that in my next podcast, because to be quite honest, I don't know all the fine details until I get I've got the meeting tomorrow with my graphics people. And yeah, so my online store is unwindandknit.com. Instagram is Unwind and Knit with me. Facebook, Unwind and Knit, but also Unwind and Knit with me. And that's everything, I think, and I hope. So, Shiree Smith, I hope you really enjoy your prize, and I really look forward to drawing the next one. Yeah, for episode 25, which will be also my 1 year birthday. So thank you, everyone. Stay safe. If you're over this side, stay dry and stay warm. But if you're over in the northern hemisphere, well, sunblock, fluids, try to stay cool. It's just a terrible heat wave. And those bushfires around California are so frightening, the pictures that I've seen on TV. But anyway, I've got to stop rambling because I'm just rambling now. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.